Namaste. Jai Shiva. Let's talk about Bhakti or Raga, and especially when that happens with the Guru. And one thing that you have to understand is that Bhakti can only arise in those people whose consciousness has expanded to a certain extent. They have a very high level of consciousness. And other than that, that bhakti is arising from the Atma that you are. Bhakti always arises from Atma. Bhakti is the characteristic of Atma. It's the Preeti. If you have not watched the Atma series on my channel, then I would suggest go and watch that. So you will see that Preeti and Apriti are two characteristics of an Atma. And Bhakti is the Preeti in action. Preeti in a living mode. Height of Preeti in a living mode. So that is what Bhakti is. So Bhakti is a characteristic of Atma. So this is the technical thing to understand here. While if you say Raga or attachment or obsession or possession or whatever, very strong attachment, that kind of a thing, Raga, actually arises from the Chitta. It's a sanskar. It's a vasana in Chitta. Chitta is the storage warehouse of all your emotional, mental, emotional, behavioral patterns, means, in other words, all your sanskaras, and it's a warehouse of all your chittavrittis and all your vasanas. Okay? So, raga is the bad thing. It'll create bad. The consequences of it are bad, actually. It's a very strong sanskara. Now, it is very hard for anybody when they are going through raga or they are going through bhakti. It is very hard to understand which one is it that I am going through. What is it that has come out from within me? And what I am experiencing? Is it raga or is it bhakti? And at times, because so many students are studying for years and years, they are the disciple of a guru. So at times their bhakti could be projected on the guru itself, or the raga could be projected on the guru himself or herself. And when other people look at it, if the guru is male and the disciple is female, then people start thinking, oh, it's something wrong, it's not bhakti, it's raga and it's asakti. Otherwise, if the guru is female like me, and if there is a male student and he is having a lot of bhakti for me, then also most people do not actually understand bhakti at all. Just go back into the history and see how many bhaktas you have ever noticed. How many biographies or autobiographies of real bhaktas you have ever studied. Ramakrishna Paramhans was one. He was the bhakta of Mother Kali. So bhakti or raga can also be for people have raga for film stars as well. Hollywood or Bollywood stars as well, right? Or to some other role model human being as well, to your guru or to somebody, towards their teachers, and so much raga or bhakti can be there, right? So just see, Ramakrishna Paramhans was one, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was one, Mirabai was one, Sant Haridas was one, Haridas, Ravidas, these Tukaram, Sant Tukaram, Sant Kabir was one. right? So all these people were the great bhaktas of their time. What is the main core difference between bhakti and raga? We say love is blind. That is the difference, actually. The reason people we have this kind of a saying that love is blind, they are actually talking about raga. That raga is blind. Attachment is blind. In other words, we are saying you lose your intellect. You lose your buddhi, your viveka. You lose your power of discernment. You lose your intelligence in some way. At that time, technically, it is actually raga and not bhakti. If you have lost your intelligence, whether you are, analyzing yourself towards, and you have raga or bhakti towards your guru or towards some Hollywood, Bollywood star or towards some other person, no matter however much pure, pious, or whatever definition you would like to call it, or unconditional love and this love and that kind of love, no matter what, or soulmate relationship or twin flame, no matter what you call it. Just see, did you lose your mind? Not the ego. Ego must be lost in love. Ego is definitely lost in love. But that is not a criteria to analyze. Did you lose your intellect? Did you lose your intelligence? Did you lose your power of discernment? Did you stop seeing the entire world and looking at people or things rationally, logically? Did you stop understanding the facts of life, bigger truths of life in the process when that raga or bhakti was coming out from you? In bhakti, your intelligence, your intellect starts becoming purer and pure and pure and pure. Your consciousness keeps on expanding more and more and more and more and more. So earlier you may be just a person who meditates, but then suddenly in bhakti, your meditation will become deeper. Soon, after some time, you will start landing in samadhis, and then soon, after some more time, you may attain enlightenment. That is what bhakti does to you. Raga never does that. In raga, you just clinch. You just crave the attention of that other person. You crave meeting. You want to see them. You want to meet them. You want to be near them, or you want to just be close in one way or the other. Okay? In bhakti, the same things are being craved. Exactly same things are being craved. But at the same time, intelligence is shining. Intellect is shining like never before. So bhakti is not blind. Raga or attachment are blind. They can blind you. So a lot of times people come to me and they have had projected their bhakti or raga and they are very confused, about it. And bhakti is something that after some time, the bhakta is no more. The entire aham, ego, the chitta vrittis, the chitta becomes so clean, that warehouse of mental, emotional, behavioral pattern is clean. Your behavior starts changing to a greater degree. Your gyan, your wisdom starts changing to a very high degree. So it's bhakti, then it's bhakti. But if nothing is changing except that you forgot to change your clothes, then it's raga. If you are not transforming, if you are not becoming a better person, if you are not becoming a newer version of who you were yesterday, then it's a raga, it is not bhakti. Bhakti means your consciousness is constantly evolving. And there will come a time for every bhakta when they have to attain samadhi, then bhakta has to die. Bhakta has to go away. It's just the bhakti that remains, but bhakta has to die. Not literally, not from the body, but the identity of being a bhakta, being a devotee. Bhakti means devotion, roughly, and And bhakti is usually, another way to look at it as, understand it is that bhakti is usually with somebody higher than you. So it usually happens with Guru, or it happens with God, or with some Shakti, some goddess, or with some other Shaktis and Devi and Devatas. So it happens with supreme powers of the universe. Guru is also a supreme power of the universe. Gurus who guide the spiritual disciples and devotees are the supreme power of this universe. They come under that category. So bhakti happens with them. But with all the other people, it's nothing but raga and asakti. And raga and asakti, today or tomorrow, will go away, will vanish, will leave you untouched. Means you will be better off without them. They are the sanskaras in your chitta. And the sooner you realize that it's the raga that is coming out from within me, and I need to really get away from this person. And that is how it is. Okay? So, analyze yourself whether you are in bhakti or you are in raga. And understand them very clearly. A lot of people are so much, confused about these things. Bhakti has no fear. Raga has fear involved in it. What will happen to me? What will happen to the other person? What if I can't live without them? They cannot live without me. What if they leave me alone? What if I do not see them again? What will happen this? All that is raga. Bhakti is whether two people, whether they are guru or disciple or the bhakta or the god or some shakti, they actually become one in lot of ways. There is no fear in bhakti. But there is a lot of fear in raga, in attachment. In bhakti, a bhakta is not even fearful of dying himself or herself. But with raga, there is always going to be a fear of death, fear of leaving, fear of separation. Separation is painful in both conditions. But it's a completely different thing to have a fear of separation. Longing of union is there in both of them. Longing for union is there in raga, and longing of union is there in bhakti as well. But fear that if I do not get this union, then I cannot live, I cannot survive, what will happen to me? That kind of fear is not there in bhakti. Just the longing is there. Intense longing. Bhakti is very painful, very intense, but lands you into samadhis, deeper states of dhyana. And most important thing that bhakti teaches you, which raga is never going to teach you. Raga cannot teach that. And that is samarpan. In Hindi we call it samarpan. In English we call it surrender. Although surrender is not an exact translation of the word surrender. So samarpan actually technically means when your ego has dissolved, when your aham has been dissolved, when all your identities have been lost, vanished and dissolved. They do not exist anymore. That state is called as samarpan. That state is called as surrender. But the English word surrender, if you look for the definition, it doesn't matches with surrender at all. Doesn't matches with the word samarpan, terms of samarpan at all. But still, that is the rough translation that we have got. So it's the surrender. When your identities are lost, your chitta is clean, your aham is lost, you do not exist anymore you do exist from the body, from the mind and from intellect and so many things, but anything that identifies you as you is not there anymore. So that state is achieved only through bhakti. With raga, it cannot be attained because samarpan cannot be attained through raga because there is fear. You'll never let go of yourself 100%. And you will always lack the intellect, the intelligence, which is not the case with bhakti. You see, so many people, they become so much lovers, they are lovers, and they, out of their love, when they cannot get to each other, or they are not they are not able to live the union, get married or whatever, then they become alcoholic, they start doing drugs, some of them even go and commit suicide. You see, lack of intelligence. You start harming yourself in one way or the other, because you cannot bear the pain of separation. You start doing things that are really bad for your body, for your life. That itself shows raga, or serious attachment, is, or more. When raga becomes little much more dense, deep, or you can say much more serious attachment happen, then we call it moh. At times, parents have lot of moh towards their children. No, my son should, take care of my business and take care of me, and should not leave me, should always live under one roof, and this and that and whatnot. So moha, in moha or in raga or in attachment, you lose your intellect and you lose your intelligence. In bhakti, you never lose. Have you ever seen any bhakta committing suicide? No. Any bhakta becoming a alcoholic? No. They are always drowned in bhakti. It's a very big, stark difference to see. Losing the intellect or intelligence, and not losing the intellect or intelligence. So think about it carefully, analyze carefully, okay? And then you will know whether what you are experiencing is a raga, or is it a bhakti towards Guru, towards divine. And usually bhakti does not happen with the people when they are at the equal levels. I mean, with another human being, it's hard, because you will never go into samarpan. You'll always save a little bit of yourself. And that way, all your identities, some of your identities will still stay alive. Your aham, your ego will still stay alive. Okay? With another human being, it's very hard to learn surrender. Cannot learn surrender that way. Only bhakti can teach you samarpan. All right? Namaste. Jai Shiva.